Oh my gosh, Dan Quinn! Your stuff is still packed and ready to go, but it's in my closet. Pick it up and go! What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown, and if you're new here, welcome. At some point, the Falcons are gonna get a win, right? Well, things don't get a whole lot easier as we actually have to play a quote-unquote rebuilding Panthers team, but don't be fooled, this Panthers team is actually very competitive, and I mean, they already have 2 more wins over us, so this is not a pushover team. Things are not going to get a whole lot easier just because we're playing the Carolina Panthers. We have to win this one if we have to get some sort of miracle to get in the playoffs. Let's go over this matchup starting right now. Before we get started on our Week 5 game preview versus the Carolina Panthers, there's 2 things I want to note here. One, I don't know if the microphone is going to catch on to it, but I do apologize if my voice sounds a little weird. I feel a little out of the ordinary for some reason, but 2, I should probably tell you how my game previews work here at Rise Up Rundown. First, we go over summary to the matchup, which means we describe the story for both teams heading into the game. First the opponent, and then the Atlanta Falcons. After that, I go over what to watch out for from the opponent. So it's really the opponent's biggest strength, and the Falcons have to prepare for that. Then we go over possible breakouts for the Falcons, which means either the opponent's biggest weakness and the Falcons can take advantage of it, or maybe the opponent isn't necessarily weak on this side of the ball, but it's not going to be enough to stop this unit on the Falcons, and they'll break out anyway, if that makes any sense. And last but not least, we go over keys to victory for the Falcons, obviously meaning we go over how the Falcons can win this game. So, let's go over summary to the matchup for Carolina Panthers versus Atlanta Falcons. And this is a rivalry that I, in heart, will always be excited for. It's definitely not what it once was back when I was first watching the Falcons play. And some will argue this never really was a rivalry because the Falcons just kind of always beat them. But in heart, I'll always kind of be excited for this game. It just kind of holds a special place in my heart. But anyway, let's go over the summary to the matchup. First, for the Carolina Panthers, they're in their quote-unquote rebuilt season. And they're kind of just, trying to hang in there and just hope for next year's draft to be a successful one. But honestly, they're a lot better than we all think. Like, their offense is actually pretty good, and the defense still has some work to do, but they aren't, as bad as we thought they were going to be, I guess. So, they're not necessarily a team that you're going to win to, even though they're in a rebuilt mode. They're actually a lot better than we think they are. For the Atlanta Falcons, I'm going to try and explain their story without being negative Nancy. Like, I feel like I kind of am at this point in every single video. This team just frustrates me, honestly. But anyway, let me describe their story. Are they even going anywhere? Like, they're 0-4. They still have Dan Quinn as head coach. Their offense, honestly, isn't even as good as it usually is. The defense is not good. I mean, where are they even going, honestly? Like, I feel like they have no direction at this point. I guess at this point, they're hoping for some miracle to get into the playoffs at 0-4. They just need to fire Dan Quinn. But let's go over what to watch out for from the Carolina Panthers. The first thing we need to watch out for is actually a pretty good offense. Like, their offense is not something to overlook. Teddy Bridgewater is actually pretty solid for the Panthers. He's actually, keeping the Panthers in there every single game. And the receivers aren't that bad either with Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and Curtis Samuel. And I don't think Christian McCaffrey is playing, but if he is playing, just in case, you gotta find some way to stop him because Christian McCaffrey he's one of those players in the NFL to where I feel like it almost doesn't matter what you do to try and stop him. He's going to have a really good game anyway. And he's kind of the main reason the Panthers win games, except this year because he's been injured. But Teddy Bridgewater is keeping them in the game. But just in case, if Christian McCaffrey is playing, watch out. Because he's a monster. And then the other thing we got to watch out for is the pass rush. Brian Burns is actually a top 4 pass rusher in terms of win rate with a 29% pass rush win rate. And the pass rush in general for the Carolina Panthers is actually 6th in a 46% pass rush win rate. So the pass rush is really no joke. And that's really about it. Like, the Panthers are not necessarily a bad team per se. Like, they actually can kind of be competitive, to be honest with you. So I have to applaud them for what they're doing with a quote-unquote rebuilt season. But what are some possible breakouts for the Falcons? I actually have a lot of them. The first one is the passing game. Now, the passing game has not really been as good as it was in recent years. Like, it seems like every game I'm like, yeah, the passing game is going to break out. But honestly, they kind of haven't been doing that in the last 2 games. Like, Matt Ryan just honestly isn't playing great this year. Julio Jones can't stay healthy. Hayden Hurst, I love to see him get going, but they kind of are barely doing that here. Calvin Ridley is about the only bright spot for this offense. It's just really disappointing to see this passing game, but I'll say this is going to be a possible breakout because, you can't really count out Matt Ryan and Julio Jones every week, I guess. The other thing that could break out is the run game. Todd Gurley definitely isn't who he once was, but he's been turning it on a little bit. He's that kind of sounded a little weird. He's been, doing good as of late. And he's, helping Dirk Cutter out. Dirk Cutter is doing solid on the run game. And the Panthers don't necessarily have the best run defense either. So I think the run game could break out here. And the last thing that could break out is the pass rush. The Falcons actually have a 47% pass rush win rate, which is actually the 5th highest in the league, 1 spot higher than the Panthers. I don't know if Takk McKinley is playing or not, but if he does, believe it or not, I think that'll actually help us during this game. I don't think the Panthers even have a good enough O-line to block the pass rush anyway with Grady Jarrett and Dante Fowler. Dante Fowler hasn't really been as good as I hoped he would be, but neither has this whole team. But anyway, the pass rush could break out here, but that's really about it. But what are some keys to victory for the Falcons? Honestly, it's pretty simple. You just got to score points and bring in the pass rush. Like, if we score a lot of points, I don't think Teddy Bridgewater and the offense is going to be enough to keep up with this offense if we score a lot of points. And then if you bring in the pass rush, I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is, I'm not trying to trash talk him. I'm just, saying I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be enough to elude the pass rush and make plays. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think if we do those 2 things, we should be good, and we finally could get our first win. 1 win, obviously, is not going to be enough to get us in the playoff race. You have to win more, but, it's a good start. But I don't know, man. The playoff race is definitely not looking very good for the Atlanta Falcons. But let's just hope we at least get a win here. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Other than that, I will see you guys with a video this Tuesday recapping the game at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. I'm getting a little bit of complaints that some people think I'm not recapping the game. I'm kind of just going over why the Falcons need to rebuild, and you're right. So I will try and recap the game this time versus the Panthers. And also, if you guys haven't followed it already, please make sure to follow my new Atlanta Falcons podcast, Dirty Bird Discussions, where I go over really interesting Atlanta Falcons topics, and I also go over mailbag questions. Yes, mailbag questions are actually back in the podcast. You can find Dirty Bird Discussions on SoundCloud. I will probably have a link to that in the description below. And I'm trying to find a way to put it on iTunes. I can't quite figure that out just yet, but I'll eventually get it on there. And by the way, if you're wondering how to get mailbag questions in, it's just like how it was last time. I'll put it on my community tab every Friday, and you can ask questions there. Or you can follow my new Twitter account at DBD with RUR, which means Dirty Bird Discussions with Rise Up Rundown, and I'll ask the same thing. If you have any mailbag questions, put them here. And new episodes are probably going to be every Wednesday at 12 o'clock p.m. That's what I'm aiming for, but it would mean the world to me if you would check that out. I'm excited to hear what you guys think. Other than that, I love and appreciate you all for the support. As always, rise up.